So the next country was Argentina, my original home country. In Argentina, we have the engineer Masters of Science Jorge Ghiano and the engineer Miguel Taverna from INTA. INTA is a national research institute in Argentina. Miguel is the national coordinator for the dairy program within INTA, and Jorge is now a private consultant, but used to work for INTA in the past. He was part of the startup of the first robot farm in Argentina, the research farm, and he worked for 3 years there. So it's great to have all that team sharing their knowledge and expertise from that point of the world. So I'll share presenter rights with Jorge in Argentina now. Jorge, you should receive something on your screen at the moment.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, everyone. Now, can you see the presentation?
Yes, I can see the presentation. If you change the presenter mode to perfect. Yep, ready to go.
Okay. 3 minutes. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jorge Ghiano, and Miguel Taverna is now with me, and we are going to present the case of the EMS of De La Valle in Inta Rafaela. Here. Okay, the name of the project is bioeconomic evaluation of an intensive grazing dairy system, which incorporates precision technologies, voluntary milking system, and information and communication technologies. This was the first AMS there in Argentina, and it was a cooperation agreement between INTA, there is the National Institute for Technology, and De La Valle. The role or the aim of this project was to make research and development with extension service, plus a training project for future PhD students and labor here in Argentina. This project started at December of 2014, but milking started 1 year later, in September 2015. We start with 100% of heifers, and the first years the stocking rate was about 40 cows, and then the second year we just go to 65 cows. It's almost the maximum stocking rate that we have. Nowadays we have that number of cows. In our country there are almost 10 robotic farms with 36 units of AMS, and in the future this possibly will grow up to 100 projects more. The typical farm that has adopted AMS robots are confined systems like freestall and compost barn. The average of these dairies is almost 200 cows with more than 8,000 birds per day, with a typically feeding system of 70% of concentrate and silage, and the other about a bit of grazing. And then the 20% of the dairy are mixed, dryland with grazing. That is the one we have here in Rafaela. And there's one farm that it's all grazing. The key drivers we have in our country is first the long-term financing to start new projects. This is a big issue. Then the access roads to the farm, electricity and Wi-Fi connectivity. In inland, there is poor electricity system and Wi-Fi connectivity system. And the third key driver is train staff for the farm management and technical services. Now this is growing, but it's now there are not too much technical service nowadays in the country. The key challenges of AMS adoption is a high sustainable production, the positive impact in life quality of staff, as Alejandro said before, this technology is attractive for young people, and we think that this will attract new generations to dairy farms. Another big issue is the climate impact of heat stress and MAP in grazing system. These all affect the voluntary traffic. The main findings of our project was about animal behavior, how animals adapt to a mix of grazing system and feed line system, the heat stress, how this affect the voluntary traffic, the water intake, and which is the best location of facilities to reduce heat stress in the farm. Another one is the concentrate feeding strategy. We want to use in a better way with efficiency in the AMS, the principal, the concentrates, the water location and electricity demand in the system, the sanitary management strategy like mastitis, lamines, and other disease, the reproductive management, we evaluate activity meters, spreadsheet, and visual, and the water reuse for cleaning feedland floors, and organic solids reuse for agronomic use like fertilizers. We think that we have to explore or to move forward which is the best location of paddock water supply. How can we increase the pasture percentage in the diet? The water use optimization, quality and quantity. the improvement in energy efficiency, the new facilities for heat stress and mud stress periods, like a compost farm, and the incorporation of a second AMS and how this impact on labor quality and return of investment. So these are the, the key things of our project. So thank you very much, Nico, for the time of the presentation. Now with Miguel, we are going to answer a question of all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jorge, for your time and your insight. Thank you to the whole team, because I know that was a team effort putting all the presentation together. You delivered it, but I know there's a whole team in the room and behind this great work. So congratulations to all the team. There's a couple of questions that have come through. The first one is, how do you manage heat stress and encouraging cow traffic during the summer?
We manage in the night or almost like 7 p.m. to 8 or 9 a.m. The cows stay in the dry lot with shade and sprinklers and fans on the feed line. And during the day, that is during the night. They graze during the night, and during the day they stay in the dry lot. With this management, vaginal temperature or corporate temperature of cows never goes up 39 centigrades. So this indicates that the cows have a good animal welfare. Also, the waters they are located behind the AMS, so we use this to attract the cows moving forward the AMS.
Excellent. The other question that came through is, oh, sorry, you had any other comments? Sorry.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. The other question that came through is, why do you think adoption so far is only 10% grazing and 70% plus in confined? Is this area-based, cost-based, generation-orientated based? Like, what explains that most of it is confined instead of grazing?
I think that the dairies that adopt AMS almost are all like big farms, big dairies. So to manage this kind of technology, I think it's easier to manage in like dry lots or compost barn or freestall. And almost I think this is my opinion, the return of investment in this kind of system is in a fewer time. That is my opinion. There's
what did you mean by that, Jorge?
That I think the return of the ROI, the return of investment with this kind of systems like freestall, compost barn, you can I think have the money in a fewer time than in grazing systems. I don't know if you understand what I want to say, but these systems are the ones that are growing in our country. The dry lots and compost one and the freestore.
Yeah, so you're seeing more type of those systems in general in the country, and this is a reflection of those farms changing the system and incorporating this technology.
Yeah, yes, of course. And also the climate. I think you can go through climate change like floods and heat stress easier in this kind of systems.
Excellent. The other question is, which companies have AMS systems operating in Argentina?
I think that the two companies that nowadays are in Argentina are Lely and Delaware.
Perfect. Thank you very much. The other one that was mentioned, and probably it's more a question from my end, given that I know the experience of the project and the journey that all of you have been on. Would you like to comment on when you put out a job offer to people to work on this system, what kind of response you got?
When we put the first job offer, there are almost 100 of people postulating to the offer. This seems to be like that people want to work in this kind of systems instead of the traditional ones. First of all, because of quality of life quality. Sorry.
Excellent. The other question that came through is, do you want to make any comments on the reproductive management of the system?
It is a small dairy, almost 60 cows, so it's not as difficult to manage to reproductive management. But we use three kind of aids. Like we use the visual one, the activity meters, and also the scratchy. And this is the way we have very good performance in reproductive performance.
Excellent. The other question that came through, and I think related to that last one, is what about milk quality? What results are you achieving there, and how do you manage it?
We have almost an average year round of somatic cell count about 200,000, and UFC almost 20,000 US, or between 15 and 20,000 of UFC.
Is that pretty stable during the year, or that changes throughout the year?
No, the last 2 years was very stable. The first year we started the project, we had a big flood and a huge flood, so the somatic cells count go a bit higher, but they never up for 100,000 somatic cell count.
Excellent. The other question is, are the commercial farms that you mentioned in Argentina adopting AMS seeing the potential benefits of the technology, such as reduction in labor cost or increased milking frequency and increased daily yield? Is there any economic data from those farms?
We have our economic data. Then I will put the link of the website. But I think that there's a big issue with the long-term financing. But behind this issue, I think AMS is a technology that will increase in this country in the next 5 years to 10 years, because dairy farms, dairy producers see this kind of technology in a very good way, so because of improving of labor quality life and more milk production per year.
Perfect. And what are the key performance indicators that you are monitoring on that system? So when you look at the software, what are the main things that the farm staff or you as a research institute look at in the software as indicators?
In the AMS software, like the milking frequency, AMS production per day, and then the hours, the hours that the labor make, like almost in no more than 5 hours a day. Our staff make all the dairy and all the things related with the dairy, and this is very good to attract new generations.
So you say no more than 5 hours, is that one person or there's more than one person kind of working in the system?
2 persons, and that they are one person works one day and the other day another the other one. But this is very good because makes works more attractive.
Excellent. The other question that came through, Jorge, it seems that there's a lot of questions for you today, is how do you train new heifers to the system?
We train 1 month before calving, just going around the AMS with concentrate in the robot. So with 1 month before calving is a pretty good time to train the heifers.
Do you find that many animals don't adapt to the system, or most of them adapt to the new system?
No, almost 25-26% adapt to the system. Only a couple of cows go to the traditional dairy.
So you mean 95-96% of them adapt to robots,
Yeah.
the rest don't?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. The other one that came through, last one probably, is what about feed problems and health issues? Do you have any issues compared to a conventional dairy?
No, we didn't have. Diet is of the feed is almost the same as the traditional dairy. The only thing that is different is the concentrate feeding strategy. We feed the cows depends on the production of the cow. So that is the only difference between the traditional dairy. And there are no health issues related with the feeding.
So what levels of concentrate are you offering those cows?
Almost an average of 6 to 7 kilograms per cow, but it depends on the level of production of the cow. Some of them, they are like 10 to 12 kilograms of concentrate per day.
Excellent. Well, Jorge, thank you very much for all your time and the team effort.
No, thank you very much, Nico, for your time. Then I think you can share the website of INTA so you can see the indicators of the dairy, the AMS dairy. So you can share with the other panelists and participants.
Excellent. Yes, because you produce a monthly report that goes up on your website, and that is available to anybody that wants to look at it. So I'm happy to share that link afterwards on our Facebook page or as follow-up notes from this event today for anybody that might be interested, and their contact details there if anybody wants to have a look. So once again, Jorge, thank you very much. Thank you, Miguel, and everybody else in the team in INTA Rafaela. It's been great to have you on board of this initiative, and thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See you.
See you. Bye.